There's a pastor in Arizona who's preaching that women do certain things to deserve being raped, like drink too much or wear clothing that's too provocative. While it is sad to see this repeatedly debunked argument popping up once again, I have to say that it is nice to finally see the most obnoxious Christians finding ground with the most obnoxious atheists. Pastor Dean Saxton has joined forces with prominent atheists like Thunderfoot in calling for women to take more responsibility for their rapes, particularly in how they're dressed. Now, when atheists talk about what steps women can take to not be raped, they tend to be frustratingly vague. Things like, just don't dress too provocatively, don't have too much to drink, with no real information on what counts as provocative and how many number of drinks would count as too many drinks. It tends to be sort of like that old Supreme Court argument for obscenity, which is, I'll know it when I see it. Theists, though, tend to be very specific, which is quite helpful because it really helps us to see how ridiculously subjective all of this is. Some theists, for instance, will argue that anything less than a full hijab is provocative. Anything that shows a shoulder or an ankle. Some theists say it's a one-piece swimsuit. Some would say a two-piece swimsuit. Pastor Saxton says yoga pants. That's where he draws his line. Yoga pants, of course, being the stretchy fabric pants that actually cover everything from your hips to your ankles usually. But they are very form-fitting, which I suppose is where they become provocative. I find Saxton's criticism of form-fitting yoga pants to be particularly interesting due to his own choice in clothing, as you can see in the Vice documentary about him. He's wearing a quite tight form-fitting t-shirt that sort of hugs to his pecs a bit and shows off his biceps. Those, of course, are traits that women find quite provocative in men, but Saxton doesn't seem to have a problem with men wearing form-fitting clothing, just women. And I wonder why that is. There could be a few reasons. One might be that men never get raped. Well, we know that's not true, unfortunately. Men are raped, and they may be raped more often than we even realize. Last year, the National Crime Victimization Survey showed that a shocking 38% of reports of rape and sexual violence were reported by men. Of course, that's just one survey, but as our society progresses and learns that rape isn't just as simple a concept as a penis entering a vagina unwillingly, that number may well continue to rise. And yet, despite the large number of male rape victims, I've never seen Pastor Saxton or Muslim clerics or atheists on YouTube offering helpful advice to men on how to not be raped, suggesting that they stop wearing form-fitting t-shirts, asking them to please not have shots at the bar or to never do drugs because they might end up being raped. And despite the fact that many of these rapes are committed by women, I never see women compared to wild animals that just can't control themselves around any bit of male skin that happens to show. In fact, the only men I see blamed for their rapes on a regular basis are prisoners, because apparently being convicted of a crime allows people to freely dehumanize you the way that women are dehumanized every day. So anyway, I encourage you to watch the Vice documentary on Pastor Saxton to get a sometimes chilling look at the sort of person who believes that women are responsible for their own rapes. Pay particular attention to the part where he talks about how he has no friends. Apparently, hating women is a lonely life.